Hey, hi Karina.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hi. I think we have got quite a few people so far. Have we got Neil with us?
Yes,
Where are you, Neil? Hi, Neil.
I'm here.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So,
Welcome, everybody, to our Dental4Windows New Features Refresher Series 1. So today is just going to be a catch-up of the last 18 months. We will have a Series 2 next week, and from then on, we'll be hosting webinars as new builds are released, and we'll also be hosting webinars monthly on topics you guys will be interested in. So we will put up a poll at the end, just asking, what do you want to know more about? So my name's Karina. I'm one of the trainers here. With me, I have Kylie and Neil.
hi
I'm sure you've
guys.
all
Hello.
spoken to us before. Um, Kylie and Neil will be going through the features today. So I'll hand it over to Kylie.
Okay, Karina, what I'll do, can you just check the chat? It seems to be disabled. We just got a
Hands
message from Nikita. So if you can see if we can turn the chat on as well.
I can.
And we will get started. Okay,
Excellent.
so welcome everybody today. So, as Karina said, we'll be going through the testing. Thanks, guys. We'll be going through the new features over the last 18 months. We haven't run a new features webinar for a little while, but we do plan on running these. I think it's working now. Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks, Nikita. Okay, so let's get started. Before you get started, just we still have quite a lot of people to join. So just where are you guys from? What's your position at the practice? And we can just start a little chat in there. But I'll just go through a few housekeeping rules before we start. Rules, I love that word. Okay, so today the webinar will be recorded. All attendees are going to be on listening mode. We do have the chat and Q&A enabled now, so please feel free to ask questions as you go along. Okay, hi guys, we've got Linda from Sydney, Mark from WA. Awesome. Don't be shy, everybody. And at the end, Karina will try and answer your questions throughout today's webinar. But she won't, if she doesn't get a chance, we will have some question time at the end. So we will try. I can see everybody coming in now. Hi, guys. Don't stress. We will be recording the webinar, so we will send you from Tasmania. Well done. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So let's discover build number 5125. So Neil is going to take us through patient communication log report. So new features in this build, we have a patient communication log report. We can import fees from an external source. He'll take us through the campaign response rate report, which is great, and just a new vertical scroll bar for multi-location. So anyone who has got multi-location at your practice, there's a new way of visualizing that. And last of all, he will take us through the automation loading performance. So over to you, Neil. I'll get you to go through these with us. I'm just going to turn my camera off as well while we're doing this. No worries. So wonderful.
Okay, so we have first of all, the communication report. This is actually an enhancement. So to access the communication report, we come into the patient records. We find our patient and we go to the Find View menu and we come down to Communication Log. So in here, we can select from a preset date range, or you can enter in your own from and to dates. We can also choose if we want this report to be in ascending or descending order. The enhancement to this report is that it now includes both sent and received messages. So you can see here that we have both SMSs sent and replies in this one report now. Okay. So the next one is the import fees from external source. So we can now get fees imported. So we go to Location Management and the Fees tab. What we need to do first is to create a fee template. So we click on the Options drop-down menu and we come down to Generate Fee Import Template. Now here we select the fee levels that we want to export. And you can choose whether you want it to be all latest fees, latest non-zero fees, or zero fees, so a blank template. The difference between the top two is the non-zero will only show ones where there is a current fee. When we export, we just save this as an Excel file. You can rename it there if you want to. So now we open this file in Excel. Once we're in Excel, we can then come in here and modify the fees. You can see we've got two columns which represent each fee level we exported. You just come down and just enter the fees into each column as applicable. Once we're done, we just save this file. Now, I do recommend saving as a different file name, just so it doesn't overwrite the one you exported. So once we've done that, we just close Excel and then we come back into Dental4Windows. So now we go back up to the Operations menu and we come down to Update Fees from File. Here, we enter in the day we want this to commence. So you can forward date it if you want to. We then select the file we're going to import, and that's the file we just saved in Excel. On the left-hand side, you'll see a summary of the file. And then we just click Import Fees. And we click Yes. And now that's added the new fees. So then when we click Exit, we now have a new period with those fees we just entered. And if I go into the test fee level, you'll see that that one also has the new period. So the next one we have is Campaign Response Rate Report. Now this report helps you give an idea of what percentage of patients make an appointment after being sent a message from a query. So this can be any type of query. So we go into Campaign Response Rate Report. And here we choose what type of set we want. So you can see we've got quite a few different sets there. So I'm going to choose Wizards Based and I'm going to choose Simple Query Wizard. We then choose how many campaigns we want to report on. So we're saying the last 20 campaigns and also the campaign length, which I'll explain in a moment. Then we can tell, is this report based on appointments being booked? So the patient made an appointment, or the patient attended the appointment, or trim was done. So when we click OK, this report is now showing that on the query done on the 13th of September, 50% of patients made an appointment within 30 days of that being run. And you can see down the bottom, we have the number of patients. If a batch was created within that 30 days, it will not appear in this list because it hasn't been 30 days since the batch was created. So then we have multiple location selection. So if you have a multi-location database, when you log in now, on the page where it asks you for selection of location, which you'll see in a moment, You'll now see we have a scroll bar on the right-hand side, which we can use to scroll down to view. And the last one is the Batches tab in the recourse or the automation has been enhanced. So essentially, when we come into location management and we come over to the automation tab, this page will now load a lot faster. And what it does is it's capturing the week worth of batches, as opposed to next 30 days, which is what it was. It was last 30 days. You can click on this drop-down menu to select a broader range. If you're going to do a larger one, sometimes it will warn you that it's going to capture a larger batch and it may take a while to process. So that's those new features for this build.
Sorry, thank you, Neil. Okay, so the next features we'll go through is, let me just bring those up. So in our appointment notes character increase, so we can actually, when you're typing a message in the appointment book, we've actually increased the notes from 200 characters to 500 characters. So I'll show you shortly where you can do that. Removing inactive providers and staff from security. D4W mobile access restrictions. We've actually got a security setting for this now. We have a new X-ray link, Maya, that can be connected with our CMS. And just more of an enhancement, D4W mobile VPN client installer has had the security increased. Okay, so let me just share bring my D4W. Karina or Neil, can you see my D4W on the screen?
We can, yes, Kylie, thanks.
Wonderful, that's all right. I always get a little bit concerned that I'm sharing the wrong screen, which I am right now, is that right? Okay. So my D4W is here. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Can you see my D4W or has it switched screens again?
It's gone back to the PowerPoint.
Wonderful. Just what I want. Let me share a different screen. Here we go. Share. Wonderful. Okay, so the first one is our appointment notes character increase. So what we're talking about here is when we double click on the appointment time, we've actually increased in here. So we have up to 500 characters now. So depending on what you want to write, you can write up to, so yeah, been increased from 200 to 500 characters. Okay. So removing an inactive provider or staff from security. Okay, so before this feature came out, we would also have to, when we were making a provider or a staff member inactive, we would then have to go to our security and deactivate them from here as well. Okay, so I'll explain to you, or show you what we've done now. So I'm just going to make a provider inactive. So let's just go here and go Wayne Slater. Untick is active. Okay, just select yes to this. It's just telling us what else we need to update in Dental4Windows. And now when we go back to our security setting, so location setup, they have disappeared from our list. To find our inactive providers, we just go up here to records and show users or groups with denied access. Okay, so it's just cut that step of you having to go into this particular person and deactivate them from your access denied. So in here, so we used to have to actually double click on their name and deactivate them from here as well. Okay. So another one in D4W mobile access restrictions via our security setting. So in our security setting, if I just go to our groups, okay, so you can see our mobile app security access here. Okay, so administrator, depending on what you have set up in your system, I'm sure yours doesn't look exactly the same as mine, but depending on who you want to give access, we would untick it here. So to put security onto a particular setting in here, we'd use the gold key. As you can see, I've actually already got a tick here. So if I didn't want security, I would untick it. But I do, so I'm just going to press cancel. And I want to give my administrators access to a mobile app. All right. So I would just select here, tick. If I've got a dental assistant, I don't want them to have access to the security. You can also go into your user group. So after you've assigned your staff, you can actually go in per provider or per person, staff member, and you can go in there and allocate them security access by just putting a tick on that particular mobile app access. Okay. Awesome. Alrighty. So the next one we've already gone through. So we have a new X-ray link that's integrated within Dental4Windows, and that is Maya. And also D4W Mobile VPN client installer has had the security increase there. So that's more of an enhancement rather than a new feature. Perfect. Okay. Wonderful. So let's go on to my next one. So let's just go back here. Okay. Can we see Let's Discover 5203?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to get Neil to take you through now is updating items for ADA, the 13th schedule. The ADA brought out a new fee schedule, or last year I think it was. So he will go through how to update this in your Dental4Windows. And also he'll go through with you automation, interface, and batch enhancements. Okay, Neil, I'll get you to take over from here.
Okay. So obviously the ADA 13th schedule is where we add new items, update existing codes, and also make older codes obsolete. So in order to do this, we go into location setup and we go into the items tab. We then click on the record drop-down menu and switch to ADA 13th schedule. Click yes and OK. And the 13th schedule items are now set up in Dental4Windows. And you only need to do that once, and it applies to all computers. So the enhancement with automation now is in the Batches tab. If, again, it mainly applies to multi-location databases, where you can now filter the process batches by location. So previously, all batches were visible here for every single location. But now, we can now select between individual locations. So that's the enhancement to that page. And you can still select filter by type, whether it's recalls, queries, appointments, and you can still query by type and also by first or second reminder. That's all still the same. So that's pretty much the enhancements in this build.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Neil. Okay. Okay, so the next couple of new features we have got, I can see we've got a couple of questions there, Neil, on Karina, if you're able to answer those. Otherwise, we can touch on those at the end of today's question time. Okay, so we're going to go through now. We can actually run a report for each provider and what they've prescribed for a particular period. If you're using our prescriptions in Dental4Windows. Appointment book cancellation list, we can now edit the notes. Appointment class report, we've actually added security to this feature. We can send a patient an SMS on checkout. So if you're using our arrived, checked in, checked out, we can actually have a prompt where you can send a message to your patients. Okay. Medicare IRN and expiry date field. So just a new field that we've added into Dental4Windows. Payment surcharge. So we can make a payment surcharge mandatory now. And I'll go through the setup with you shortly. And ensure newly created providers and staff are not hidden in security. Okay, so when you're adding a new staff member, they won't be hidden in security. Okay, so, and the last one is hide inactive providers in the banks tab. So it's just cutting out another thing that we need to do. Perfect. All right, so let me just bring across my Dental4Windows now. Can you see my Dental4Windows, Karina?
I can see your Dental4Windows. Yes, Kylie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let me just close this screen. Okay, so the first one we're going to go through is the provider, the prescription. Okay, so if you're using Dental4Windows to write your prescriptions instead of running it manually on the script pads, what we do here is up here, we'll just go and we will create a prescription. Okay, so let's just bring that across to my other screen. Okay, so to apply a medication, we go here, apply medication. We select what we're going to supply today and press OK. We can only select 2 at a time. All right, so now we have got our provider's details here, prescriber number. We have got the patient's Medicare number in here. We can add a date of birth, but I actually don't have a date of birth on this particular patient. And then down the bottom here is our dentist. Okay, so I'm just going to print that. Okay, we'll just save that. Okay. Alrighty, so to access this report, we just go in here to location management. Then we go to our reports. Okay, and we go to our prescriptions. Okay, so here we go, prescriptions by provider and medication. So we just double click on that and I'll bring my other screen across. Okay, so we can actually do per provider. So if we only wanted to run the report on one provider, we can. We have our selected dates here, so you can go week to date. What you're prescribing. Of course, if you've got more in your database, I just have very minimal in this database, and then we just press OK. Okay, so it will just give us a list of prescriptions that each provider has written within that period. Awesome. Okay. So the next one was making a provider inactive. I might not be doing it in order, guys, but I don't have my other screen up. But just from memory, when we make a provider inactive, so for example, I'm just going to go into provider now. I'm going to select, let's just go here. I'm going to make him inactive. Actually, before I do that, I'll just show you our banks. Okay, so this is what we're talking about when we're making a provider inactive. So we have all our providers in here who are active. When I go into the provider I want to make inactive, I just select here, is not active, say yes. And when I go back into my banks tab, it automatically gets rid of them from my bank redirection. So we used to manually have to go in there and remove them from our bank redirection as well. Wonderful. Okay, so the other one is when we're adding a new staff member in. So in our security, they won't be hidden from in our list here now. So we used to have to go back, and you probably don't, I'm not sure if you noticed, but you would actually have to go in here and say show users or groups with denied access. So we skip that now. So when we're adding a new provider or a new staff member, let me just go in here now. Okay. All right, so once I've added my new staff member, when I go to security, they just appear in my security list automatically. Okay, so then you would double click on your person, give them access, type in a username, select what user group they're from, and then you would give them a password. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so moving on to our next feature is our check-in and check-out. Okay, so if you're using arrived, checked in, checked out, so I'm just going to check Craig in here. So let's go check-in and right-click check-out. Okay, so I haven't turned the feature on yet. So what I'm going to do now is go and show you where to activate this new feature. Okay, so we go here to location setup. I'll show you after where you can find these new features. So a lot to remember on our e-support documents as well. So to turn the feature on, we just go in here to location setup, general, and I know it's under SMS, but I'll just show you a bit of a shortcut as well. So if you're actually looking for something in Dental4Windows and you're not quite sure where it is, you can actually go up here to record and search in here. You can type in a keyword and it would find it for you. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go here and turn this on and say yes. Okay. So that's the first thing we need to do. Then what we need to do is go and set up a text message. Okay. So to set up a text message, we go here to our debts and marketing. Okay, mail merge category, we go to appointment. Okay, you can see appointment checkout. So this is where we could put, this is where, not where we could, this is where we will put our text message in here. Okay, so thank you for visiting your practice name today. We value your feedback. You can put a link in there that can take you to a review or something like that. So depending on what you want to put in there is what we can type in there for you. Okay, so once that is all set up, when we go back here to the appointment book, and I'm just going to go arrived. Okay, I'm just going to say, do not remind me again today. So that stops popping up. Right click, checked in. And then the last one, right click, checked out. Okay, we're going to get a pop-up box. Okay, do you want to send an SMS to this patient? Okay, so if you, it won't work on this database because I don't have my SMSs set up, but it would then send your patient a text message to say, thank you for coming to your practice today. All right. Okay, so the next one I will take you through is, well, I've forgotten what I've gone through already, but we'll do the surcharge. Okay, so there is a general setting. So we just go here to location setup. Okay, it's actually in accounting, invoices and receipts. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we go make payment method, so charge mandatory. I'm going to change that to yes. Okay. And then what we need to do next is to set up an item code that will connect the surcharge with the payment. Okay, so to set up a item code, we go here to items. What I suggest is I've just put it under miscellaneous. So if I just going through this, double click on there, miscellaneous is the category, subcategory is miscellaneous again. And then when I open up this, I've set up surcharge. This is our procedure. I know a lot of people struggle with trying to set up the codes, but yeah, if you just remember category, subcategory, and then procedure, and then that will complete this for you. Okay, so you select your item code, and then we go here to financial details. We tick here, use for surcharge. Okay, so that's setting up our code. And then the last thing we need to do is connect this code with the payment method. Okay, so that is here in system tables. And I have set up Amex. So we just go along here. We connect the code, the item code, to this particular method of payment. So surcharge goes in here, and then we put the amount for the surcharge. So I've just put 3% in there. Now this is all activated. When I go to create the account for this particular patient, so now we're just going to go back into the patient's file. I'm just going to do I'm just going to select, I'm just doing some bleaching today, and press OK. Okay, so that will automatically put all my item codes in there, ready to be invoiced. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is F2 or new invoice. We're going to receive payment, and then we type our amount. So I'm just going to type $600, and we're going to pay by Amex. Okay, we've got a pop-up box. It automatically calculates what the 3% is. We just say yes, and it adds it onto the figure here. Okay, so then you can actually process your payment and then select print. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to select create for today. And you can see that that is our surcharge item code there with the amount automatically added onto that. Wonderful. Let me just check what I have forgotten. I think that's it. Can you think of anything I forgot, guys? I wasn't going off my list of things. No.
No.
Okay, let me have a quick look. Oh, Medicare, sorry. Let me go to the Medicare IRM. New share. Okay, so the last one is what we've added is Medicare IRN number to the patient's file. Okay, so where to find that is in patient and then patients tab, and it's under insurance and various. Okay, so we just go into insurance and various, and we can now pop in the Medicare ID number, IRN, with the expiry date. Okay, so this is not for your CBS, your child dental benefits claiming. This is for your prescriptions, for it to show on your prescriptions. Perfect. I think that's all. I think I covered everything. Awesome. All right. I know we have a few questions, so let's let me share my other screen now. Okay. Not very good at this sharing thing, but anyway, I'll improve. Okay. Yes. So will we provide a link for this recording afterwards? Yes, definitely. If you did miss the start of our webinar, we will send you out a recording either probably tomorrow. Okay. Awesome. Okay, anything? Thank you for joining. All right. What I will take you through as well before I hand over to Karina is in your Dental4Windows. Oops. I need some practice on sharing screens here. Okay, so in your Dental4Windows, up here in your help button, we have got our e-support. Okay, so I'm just going to take you to our e-support here. I'm not sure if you are all familiar with this, but I've just selected our e-support. It takes us directly to our e-support platform. So all the new features that Neil and myself and Karina have gone through today will be down the bottom here on the left-hand side in our new features. Okay, so today's webinar, we only covered 2 because there was quite a lot of new features in these 2 particular builds. So here we go, 5125, you select the build and it will give you information. Even if you select here, it will actually even show you how to set things up like I've showed you how to set them up. It'll show you what to do on there. But this is great resource as well for you guys to, rather than calling support, you can actually come on here, have a look at how to do something, and it has all written, it has lots of things in here. So you select appointment book, set up data code. I'm just picking random ones here, and it'll just go through how to do everything within Dental4Windows. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, also our resources as well. We've got our e-support, email, and our website, which are all up on the screen. And I will just hand it over to Karina for now. Has anybody got any questions? How did you go, Karina? Did you?
We've managed to answer quite a few of the questions that were coming through in the Q&A and also in the chat. So thank you guys for sending your questions through.
There is just one there now that I'll address.
Yep, sure, Neil.
How much is it to upgrade to this version of Dental4Windows? If you're on a support and maintenance contract, it is covered under that contract. And I'm just going to share my screen and show you how you can upgrade. So on your Dental4Windows, on your main server, if you click on Help and check for updates, and that will take you through the process of where you can do the upgrade. Once you've done that, you can then upgrade your client computers, and they take around 10 minutes. And you just do that when you launch it, and it'll ask you, do you want to, there's a database mismatch, click OK, and they'll upgrade themselves. And that all is covered under your monthly support contract.
Okay. Wonderful. When does the 13th ATA schedule need to be done by? Liz, thank you for your question. So it was actually, I think it was released in July from memory. So when you update to the 13th schedule, it will automatically make your item codes obsolete, and it will add, so you don't manually have to add those item codes. So I think it came out in July from memory. Awesome. Not a problem, Liz. Thank you for attending. Wonderful. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions. Oh, hang on. I updated D4W today, but still it shows 16 and not 17. Depend what version, you'll have to just check what version you're on. Neil, do you know, can you elaborate a little bit more on that question?
i7 is currently under temporary release and should be available to everybody very soon.
Wonderful. Thanks, Neil. Awesome. I think that was good. I think we managed to answer any questions. So, Karina, I'll let you take over from here.
Sure. So this concludes today's webinar. Thank you all for attending. We hope you have learnt something and you have enjoyed our presentation. Be sure to sign up for next week's webinar as well. We'll be covering Series 2. Thank you again.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Not
Thank
a
you.
problem. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.